Greetings, parents. My name is Mr. Guth, and I'll be your child's math teacher this year. I'm going to take you through my slideshow to show you kind of what my class is all about. Here's me and my family and my dog and my cat, as well as some of the classes that I teach. I probably have your kid in either college algebra, finite, or algebra 2 right now. I've been kind of all around the state. I grew up in southern Indiana, went to South Spencer High School, then I went to Purdue University for college. My first teaching job was way up north at Penn High School in Mishawaka, but I've been here since 2002 and couldn't be happier. A lot of the stuff that your kids are going to need are going to be based from my website here, and they should have bookmarked it. This is kind of the main page, but they'll really probably look at one of the class pages. And I wanted to show you this so you know what they have access to. I don't do a Google Classroom or a Schoology page. I made this calendar. I think it is pretty neat and it works pretty well. I've got links, I've got PDFs, I've got videos of lessons for every day. And so anytime they're absent or just need to know what's coming or what happened, they can go here and find it and figure it out. So it goes all the way through the semester, and I've got a lot of information here. I can see that the first chapter test looks like, what is that? October 1st for this class, college algebra. Finite math would have a different material, but it's the same kind of concept. All of the stuff is located here, not on Google Classroom, Google Sites. I've got PDFs, I've got lesson videos, I've got reviews. I know we're having a quiz this day, so everything's pretty much here. GoldAdder is my other web page. I made a calculator page, and basically this was for all of my students that don't have a calculator. Most of your kids probably have their own. The TI-84 is the best calculator you can get. If they have that, great, they'll use it, but they also might use this calculator. It can do a few things that the TIs can't or the other calculators can't. I tried to make it like a graphing calculator, so we can graph, and there's all of this stuff that tries to mimic things that a TI-84 can do, a graphing calculator can do. There will be certain sites that we will use in class, so they're going to use this at some point, but if this isn't their everyday calculator, that's fine. If they've got their own, please use it. That's what I want. If you wanted to read some calculator, if you're going to buy one and want to read my calculator recommendations, I've got some here. You can read about it, but they're probably already in good shape by the time they're juniors and seniors anyway. Dual credit, regular credit have kind of different policies, but let's go through dual credit because it covers more. The big one that students are concerned with is the cell phone policy. It is a state law now that students can't have cell phones in class. So I have a table in the front of my room where they put their phones. They put their phones up on that table in their spot. From bell to bell, from the beginning of the class to the end of the class. The grid on my table looks exactly like my seating chart. So they have an assigned spot on the table. They put it there. I can tell who's put it there and who hasn't put it there. But just encourage them to follow that. It is a state law now, and please please know that you won't be able to call them in the middle of class or text them because they won't have their phones. So let's see. AirPods, headphones, video games, smartwatches, all that stuff is not supposed to be out during class. Laptops, we'll use them. So sometimes they can use these, but sometimes they should be closed during notes. Here are kind of my rules. Pretty standard, really, I guess. Be in your seat and ready with required materials. Attentive, take good notes, work on the assignments. I'll try to give extra time to work. Sometimes I'll talk all periods, sometimes I won't. If they're absent, they're supposed to check the calendar. Ideally, what happens is, if you know you're absent, you're going to come and you're going to check this calendar and see what we did and print out the worksheet if you need to, watch the video, take the notes, all that good stuff. Grade breakdown is kind of important to know. In dual credit classes, the final exam is worth 20%. Most of the classes at PHS, the final exam is worth 15. And if you go to my regular classes, On my regular classes, the breakdown is 15, but for the dual credit, it's 20. And also for dual credit, the test category is 62.5, homework 25, and quiz 12.5. That's a big chunk of test. So if they do badly on one test, it hurts their grade a lot. So please encourage them to study hard for tests, final exam. Here's how the formula is calculated. Here's how the grade is calculated. Missing assignments, if it's an absence, they get however many days. Miss 3 days, you get 3 days. If they're just lazy or putting it off, then there's going to be a penalty. And I want it turned in during the current chapter. If we're in chapter 3, I don't want to see chapter 1 or chapter 2 stuff. And so the late penalty is going to just be however late it is or how bad the quality is, I guess. Typically, my assignments are worth 10 points. So if it's just late a day, I might only take off 1 point or something like that. Things happen. So if there's extenuating circumstances, I told students to let me know. We can talk about it and work something out. This was a big one last year that came up, missing a test or a quiz. If a kid misses a test and has to take it on a different day or a different class period, I told them to assume that it's going to be a different form of the test. Now, it'll still be the same material. It'll still be the same topics that I've covered in class, but it's going to be different. It's going to be a different form, different questions maybe even, or it might be a different format. One thing that they hate is the makeup test might be on Math Excel when the original test was on paper. So that'll be kind of different, and students don't like taking it on Math Excel, but I think that's the most fair way to do it. I don't like it. I know there are cases where a kid misses, and then their friend tells them everything that was on the test, and so then they come back the next day and they know every question that was on the test. So I wanted to try to prevent that, and this is my way of preventing that from happening. I know it's not what your kid wants to do, but it's also just kind of an incentive to show up on the test day if you can. All right. So understand that makeup test is probably going to be different than the original. It'll be the same material, same topics. And so here was just more information about dual credit. We already talked about that. I went through a lot of that with the kids today in class. First day of school in class, they enrolled at Vincennes using that one form. They're looking for an email with their A number. And then after they get their A number back, then we can sign up for class. And then we're on the hook for that $75. So I want them to work on assignments. I want them to practice, and they'll basically mimic my style. I'll show them exactly what I want on the notes in class, and they're supposed to mimic that style on their homework to prepare for the big points where the tests are. It might be worksheets, it might be Math Excel, but work hard and do their best on it. I think my best students are always the one that ask the most questions. So encourage them to ask for help when they need to. Ask questions, be curious about stuff, think about stuff, ask me. I'd be happy to help if they're struggling. Come in before school is probably the best, but I could maybe stay after school a little bit sometimes too. But get help as soon as they need it. Don't wait. As for getting a tutor, I don't usually recommend my students get a tutor. That's kind of a last resort. I would definitely send them in to see the teacher, see me, or get help from a friend or something before you go to a route that's going to cost money, because I'm free. So come see me. Usually my assignments are going to be due 2 school days after it's assigned. I did give an assignment today. Today's Wednesday, and so that means it would be due on Friday. And that's almost always how it happens. Not always, but typically it's going to be 2 days later. If they were absent, I wasn't here that day, doesn't really fly because I've got the calendar. So I encourage students to check the calendar, see what they missed, and try to catch up. If they can't keep up, if they need that extra time, of course they've got it, but you've also got access to all these resources from home. Late work I already talked about. Tests and quizzes. All the dates are posted on the calendar, so you'll know when they are. Try not to miss one of those days if possible. Academic honors diploma. I know a lot of students want that academic honors diploma, but I tell them to think about what are the qualities of an honors student. An honors student pays attention, takes notes, thinks about stuff, does their homework, gets good grades on tests. To me, an honors student makes A's in their classes. And so it always happens at the end of a semester. I've got a kid with a D plus coming up to me and kind of in a panic about they're going to lose their academic honors diploma. And I always tell them, are you acting like an honor student, or have you all semester? So make sure you encourage them to act like an honor student and do their work and work hard and do all the homework and all of the things that an honor student would do. If your kid had me last year for a dual credit, then they didn't have to do this enrollment. I sent you guys a message about this the other day, but this is what we did today in class, the first day in class. They had to enroll for Vincennes University. And they fill this form out, and they're looking for an email that's got an A number. This is an A number, and it's basically the Vincennes student ID number. So that's what we're doing, where we're at. I want to talk to you about the dual credit classes. We're signing up for dual credit college algebra or finite, and that is going to be $75 per semester. Next semester, some of them will be taking my trig class, and it will be another $75. So keep that in mind. It's a $75 fee, unless your child qualifies for the National Lunch Program, then that fee is waived. But for most everyone, it's going to be a $70 fee. They're not on the hook for that $75 until they complete this step. When I turn in their intent to take my college algebra or finite class, that's obligating them or you to pay that $75, and it will be billed somewhere around the 15th, September 15th. So there's a couple of hoops that we have to jump through, and then Vincennes has to do some stuff, and they're going to email you a bill. Everything's done online, and so your child is going to need to log into this website, and it's a little bit confusing because they're going to need an app on their phone to do it, but we're going to get them through, and then hopefully you can figure that out. But you should expect to see a bill sometime in September is what I'm guessing, but it would be $75 for this class, and then $75 again when we do this next semester for trig, if that's what they do. Finite, you're probably just going to have to pay it this one time. There is a drop date. They can drop the class 11/24 or 11/1 of 24, and someone would want to do that if they've got a super low grade and don't want their low grade to show up on a college transcript. But once they've completed this step, though, once we've signed up for the class, they are still on the hook. Even if they drop it, they're still on the hook for that 75. So keep that in mind. I have to get a C or better to get the college credit. And if they don't pay the $75 fee, their transcript is going to be on hold. They're not going to be able to transfer credits or register for other dual credit classes through Vincennes. And please reach out to me if you have any kind of questions. All right. And yeah, here's my email. So have a great day.